Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our WOG Pittsburgh meeting. Today, we are going to focus on streamlining your workflow, mastering Workfront's new review and approval functionality. Before we go ahead and do that, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping items. So just a few Adobe updates. So the Insiders Tour 2026, this will help you learn more about Adobe product leaders and industry experts on how to maximize the value of Adobe Analytics, Portfolio, Workfront, and Marketo, and many other things. So there's one on February 20. There was one on February 26th in Seattle, and there is one coming up in Atlanta on March 11th. We are also going to be AI is everywhere, everywhere we look now. So there is a new community group for marketing professionals exploring AI together. So if you're interested in that and joining the conversation, you can go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen. And then a premium learning subscription. So this is equipping customers with knowledge and skills that they need to get the most out of their Adobe technology. So there's cohort-based learning, hands-on exercises, optional private trainings, and even certifications. So if you're interested in looking into the premium learning subscription, feel free to contact your Adobe rep or visit learning.adobe.com, and you can check out the catalog there. Next is the Adobe Workfront Champion Office Hours. So have you joined yet? You can create your Bevy account, which you already have one if you're on here. You can join your Office Hours chapter and attend monthly office hour events. Again, you can go to the link below, or you can join a chapter by clicking on or scanning the QR code. And then obviously our WOG groups. So there is lots of information. If there's new chapters or other skills that you want to look into that go back to our WOGs, you can click on the link, or you can also just scan the QR code. And it is coming up April 19th through the 22nd of this year. It is in Las Vegas. You can attend in person or online. Registration is live now, so you can go ahead and check that out. I have had a sneak peek at a few of the seminars, and it seems like it's going to be a really cool summit this year. So make sure that you at least attend online if you are able. And then just to notice, this meeting is being recorded. So please, if you do not wish to participate in the live recording, please feel free to jump off and you can rewatch the recording later. And then some house rules. We're here to learn more about Adobe, how we can better our Workfront involvement. So no self-promotion. Please don't contact people outside of the group without their consent. You can use share cases, but please don't share information without their consent. And then stay connected. So just make sure you're following us on the WOG site, and make sure that you've joined a chapter. So maybe some of you are on here that haven't quite joined our chapter yet. Joining the chapter will keep you updated with any notifications, reminders, and new events that we host. And then I will let Heather introduce our speaker today.
Yep, we've got Micah here with us from Adobe, and I think she has an intro for herself.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now I have my screen share again.
Perfect.
Okay, just checking to make sure you can see everything.
All good.
Okay, so hi, I'm Micah Bonesack, and I'm a technical success architect here at Adobe, and today we're going to talk about review and approvals in Workfront. So I'm just going to quickly talk through the format before we get started. I'll do a little intro. We'll talk about the concept of review and approval in general, and the benefits of using Workfront for review and approval, and then an overview of the new unified document approval functionality, along with a quick demo. And then we'll cover strategy for transitioning into the new approval experience. And then, of course, we'll end with a Q&A. So I know that some of you may be completely new to using approvals in Workfront, and some of you may be longtime users and are curious about the new approval functionality. So I realize that we may have two different audiences here, but hang in there, and I'm hoping we'll have something for everybody. So let's get into it. So this is me. Before joining Adobe over 4 years ago, I was a Workfront customer at 3 different companies. So I started using Workfront back in 2009. So I've worked as a designer, an art director, and a project manager in an agency setting, in healthcare marketing, and in retail marketing settings, while heavily using Workfront approvals and proofing as part of the process. So I'm no stranger to the endless feedback loop with multiple versions of an asset. I've been in your shoes. So, on a personal note, I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I love traveling, spending time outdoors, and hiking with my dog, Chuck Norris. That's him with his little mohawk at the bottom. And then I'm obsessed with plants, nature, kayaking, and hanging out at my family's river home. And I love listening to live music. It's one of my favorite activities. And you can often find me doing anything creative. So, drawing, painting, crafting, you name it. If you'd like to connect with me after this session, the QR code shown will help you find me on LinkedIn. So, please reach out if you have any other questions. So, let's get started. Okay, what does it mean when you hear the phrase review and approval? So, in general, review and approval usually refers to a process where a request, task, or document is examined for accuracy, completeness, and compliance, and then either accepted or rejected by a designated individual or group. For most organizations, there's usually some sort of sign off needed to move forward with certain aspects of work. So, if you don't currently have an established approval process, you might be doing one or all of these things: attending unnecessary meetings to gain approval from stakeholders face to face, reading through a bunch of emails trying to gather or give feedback, digging through commentary from various stakeholders and trying to decipher what needs to be revised, reminding stakeholders who haven't replied that you need their attention and sign off by a certain due date. And from a stakeholder perspective, you may be trying to figure out like which version of a file is the most recent to review. And let's hope there's not 15 versions of the same living document in multiple places. And trust me, I've been there. So if you're experiencing anything like this, you may want to pivot to a streamlined digital approval process in Workfront. So let's pivot to Workfront. Using Workfront for your approval process results in significant efficiency, visibility, and improvements in governance for digital work. And the best part is you can track all your approval data with reporting, dashboards, and widgets so that nothing falls through the cracks. And it's your way to evolve into a single source of truth. So, why use Workfront? So, here's a few reasons why you may want to use Workfront for review and approval. It gives your organization a centralized, auditable approval process. It's one source of truth. So all feedback, decisions, and documents are maintained in a single system. For audit trails and compliance, every approval decision is time-stamped and recorded. And you gain automation and workflow efficiency with automated reminders and notifications, templates and multi-stage flows, and version control. Also, collaboration and feedback is crucial. Proofing markups enable clear visual feedback on an asset across 150 plus file types, keeping all comments and markups in one place. And there is a role flexibility within having reviewers and approvers. And finally, you can improve visibility and acceleration with reporting. So you can visualize your data with dashboards and KPIs, accelerate your time to approval, and you'll have full transparency. So let's talk about some benefits of using Workfront. So Workfront is widely used for review and approval because it centralizes and streamlines feedback, approval cycles, compliance tracking, and collaboration. So as a result, we've seen our customers reduce cycle times, increase transparency and accountability, improve compliance audit outcomes, have higher team satisfaction, and finally cost savings from fewer project delays and missed deadlines. So you might be thinking, what is the review and approval functionality in Workfront? So let me break it down for you. So in general, you can create an approval process and attach it to a Workfront object to make sure that designated users review and provide feedback before the object progresses. The Workfront objects I'm referring to are documents, proofs, or a work item like a project, task, or issue. For this session, we're only going to focus on the document and proof approvals. So let's talk Workfront terminology. So for those of you who have been using Workfront for a while and may already be using the review and approval functionality, you've probably heard several terms over the years. And I just want to clearly define those areas of Workfront so you know what I'm referring to. So currently we have two ways to approve a document. There's a document approval shown in the blue area. This is used for more general approval, and a proof approval shown in the pink area. It's used for a deeper review and generally it includes more complicated workflows captured with markup tools. So if you highlight things, circle things, make comments, that markup window is what is included with proofing. So unified approvals is the new name for what we've been calling, new document approvals. New proofing. It's all unified now. So unified approvals is the new and future approval experience where document approvals and proof approvals are combined into a single solution. So you'll be able to add approvers, reviewers, and mark up your document with edits in the same tool. So when we consider our approval experience today, there are multiple options. But using document and proof approvals can be confusing for users. So to provide you with the best possible experience, we're combining all approvals and creating a completely new and reimagined unified approvals experience. So with this new unified experience, you'll have one way to approve your content. And I hope you're as excited as I am to take a closer look at unified approvals. So I'm going to quickly move through these slides because I'm going to show some of this in a demo. But here we have a side-by-side view of the current document approvals on the left and our new document approvals renamed to unified approvals on the right. So with unified approvals, you can add reviewers in addition to approvers, designate a team as either reviewers or approvers, utilize new versions, set a deadline for the reviewer approval, create and reuse approval templates, view multiple KPIs for your approvals in the Workfront Home widget. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then use Canvas dashboards to view reporting details about unified approvals. So let's take a quick look at the widgets in Home that I mentioned. So here is Workfront Home. If you're not familiar, I would suggest go check it out because there's so many helpful snapshots of what you're currently working on. So I recommend adding these two widgets for full visibility into unified approval data. So you'll want to add the My Approvals widget and also the document approval metrics. So how do you use this new functionality? Again, I'm going to demo these features in a minute, but I just want to call out a few things beforehand. To use unified approvals, you go to the Documents tab of your project, task, or issue. You choose your document, and then you add reviewers or approvers in the document summary panel. So one last thing I want to call out here before I demo is the unified approval templates. With the unified approvals, you're able to create predefined approval templates. So with this capability, organizations can avoid manually adding participants for each document or version, and this should ideally save a significant amount of time. So now on to the demo. Let me switch screens here for a second. Okay. So this is here I am in a project. In my Documents tab, this is where you can typically find where you can also find this in an issue or in a task, but I'm just going to go from this project level. So here are some documents that I've already loaded. And what I want to do with this new approval functionality is I'm going to start to add some approvers. Oh, and of course, I'm having to re-authenticate in the middle of this. Sorry, guys. Hold, please. Hopefully this will just take a second. Okay. All right. So this is your summary panel over here on the right. So what I want to do is, like, as you click on any of these documents, you can see some of the details here on the right. This is like your in-depth view. You can also just click into the document details here, but I find it much faster to just kind of click on the summary panel and do everything from there. So it's a quick, less clicks. So you can see here, I've already got a few approvals. If I wanted to edit anything, I can change my deadline, or I can say, I've got somebody set in as approver. I'm going to go ahead and change them to a reviewer. But this is basically where you can see, here's all the things that are underway already. I've already got some stuff on here. You can see that it's in review. I'm going to go down to add this. I haven't done anything with this document yet, so I'm going to add some reviewers. So here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and click add. I'd scroll down. And this is where I've got some templates set up, which I'll get to in a minute, but you can, right now, I'm just going to toggle this off so you don't see that. So this is where I can pick a date, any kind of due date, let's say Friday. And then if you want to be specific with your deadline, you can. I'll go ahead and do that. And then this is where I can start to add people. So I can add people individually if I want to. I can change them to, I can change their role there. So I'm going to go ahead and add Joey. And this is where you can start to build the people that you're having review and approve. If, let's say, okay, never mind, I actually need Joey to be an approver, not a reviewer, then I'll go ahead and change him to a reviewer. So the role designation here is as an approver, as somebody that has to make a decision. So they need to say approve or rejected, or make changes. The final piece of this approval is their decision. Reviewers are mainly people that they can make a decision if they want to, but it's not necessary. They mainly leave comments. They might give feedback. You might have a group of people, and you really only need decisions from certain people as approvers, and then everybody else can give feedback, and they are more of a reviewer. So that's kind of the designation here. And you can change those roles however you need to. The other thing you can do here, I could go ahead and submit the request, but what I'm going to do is, and also one of the new things I want to point out is before our legacy functionality, you could only add people individually. So with this new functionality, I can add a team, and everyone is just added as one big group. So then I don't have to manually add a whole bunch of people. Like if you have 20 people on the same team, then you can just do it that way instead of having to put their name in it individually. So that's a big time saver too. That's new functionality that wasn't available before. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these people. And I'm going to just have my team on here. And I'll just hit submit. So then this is where you can now see you've got the team added. I'll download my little carrot. You've got everybody added here as however they need to be, or whatever their role is. So that's just one way to do it. And then any decisions that are made will be here. You can see if they've opened. Let me click on a few of these others so that you can see kind of what it looks like. So you can see here, somebody's opened it, somebody has approved it, people have been notified but haven't opened it yet. This is where you can kind of see the status of things, how things are going. If you need to talk to anyone or remind anyone, you can say, okay, these people haven't replied. I'm going to go ahead and remind them and send them a reminder. And so this is a quick way for you to kind of monitor the status of things. And then also, if you have versions, this is a way for you to see, okay, I've only got one version here, but if I go up here to my my top document, this is version 2. So if I want to toggle back and forth, this is where I can see, okay, I had somebody approve or open this first one. There were some changes made. I added a version 2. And so what's going to happen is anything new, any new version is going to be what's pulled up and showing first. You can go back and look at other versions if you'd like, but the most recent version will be on top and what's showing. So, and then this is where you can go through if there's any comments made. You can see those here. You can see the approvals and then just decisions of this is showing this, since this is a new version, there's nothing decided yet. But if I go back to version 1, I can scroll down and see what the decision was here. So that's just a very quick view of all of that. And you would add a new document. You can either drag and drop onto here, or you can add a new document here. And this is the area that the unified approvals will be happening. This is separate from proof approvals. I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is just a quick overview, and I want to show you the home page. So if I go back to my home page, you can see here I've got my approval. These are all the things that I need to look at and go to approve. This right now, because we still have proofing available and we have the new functionality, you're going to see a little bit of everything in one place. So, you can see this document right here has been converted to approve. So if I wanted to go to that proof, I can click on that. I would see the window that pops up that you guys are used to seeing if you're an existing proof approver. This is your markup window that you typically see. But the rest of these, I'm not using proofing. I'm just using the new unified approval process. So you'll see a little bit different buttons here than what you're typically used to. But these widgets are really helpful for you to see just a real quick, here's all the things I need to approve. And then over here, this is the document approval metrics is a really good place for you to see, like, okay, here's some stuff, here's some decisions I've made, and then how long it's taken me to make some decisions. If I have anything pending, overdue, that kind of stuff is really helpful. All right, so I'm going to stop there. Let me get back over to my... Okay. So Okay, I've got some exciting news to share. So starting March 12th, your Workfront instance will be using Adobe's Unified Approvals experience for document approvals. So this is our next generation approvals system that will eventually replace legacy document approvals and Workfront Proof. The rollout is phased, so your existing data remains in place and new approvals will be used in the update experience moving forward. So if you rely on custom approval reporting or fusion scenarios that touch approvals, we recommend reviewing them over the next few weeks so that you can align with the new unified approvals model. So what does this mean for existing approval users? So if you use document-only approvals, you will begin to see updated functionality in your interface. If you use proof approvals, where you convert your document to a proof and use the markup window to give feedback, you have 2 options. So I know that some of you may be at a crossroads right now and you're not sure when to switch over. So here are 2 transition paths to consider. So option 1, you can hang tight and stay the course. If what you've been doing is working for you, you can wait to switch until there is value parity with the new functionality. Or you can go with option 2 and slowly start incorporating new unified approvals into your current proofing markup process. So for current proofing functionality, current proofing functionality will be available in parallel with the new unified approvals experience. So new functionality will be available on a project by project basis. So I believe there will be a toggle for you to choose in the project view whether or not you want to use legacy proofing or new document approvals with the new markup window. But don't quote me on that. I don't have access to it yet to show you, but after March 12th, you should be able to see that, that option. So you can utilize the new unified approvals experience with certain projects or choose to keep the legacy proofing experience on others. So you can do, you can keep your current process if you'd like, or you can try to experience some of the new functionality on certain projects to test it out and see how you like it. Both will be available for the foreseeable future. Eventually, legacy proofing will go away, but we have no deadline for that right now. There is a plan, but there's no time frame of when that's going to be removed. It will be there in tandem at the same time for quite some time. So if you're ready to get started using unified approvals, here's some next steps to consider. So have your system administrator reach out to your Adobe account representative for enablement information. So just note that switching to unified approvals replaces current document approvals, but doesn't affect proofing functionality. So next, you'll want to add the all approvals widget to Workfront Home and those two widgets I showed from the home view. And then you'll want to verify your teams and create additional approval teams as needed to match your updated processes. And also you can create approval templates to speed up the process and start adding stakeholders that way too. So once you've gone through these steps, you'll of course want to do some testing and enablement for your users, but this is just a way to get started. So let's recap what we covered. Ooh, hold on. Okay, so here's some key takeaways. Your document approvals plus proof approvals equals unified approvals. So unified approvals is the combination of existing document approvals and proof approvals into one single experience. The benefits of using review and approval functionality in Workfront include reduced cycle times, increased transparency and accountability, improved compliance outcomes, higher team satisfaction, and cost savings. And to get started using the new unified approvals functionality, you select a file in the Documents tab of a project, task, or issue, and add approvers or reviewers via the summary panel. And for existing approval customers, you have two paths to choose from. You can hang tight and wait to make the switch until there's value parity, or start incorporating new unified approvals to add stakeholders in alignment with your current proofing markup process. So what I would love to see is that everyone in this session makes the switch to unified approvals and starts testing some approval flows. So what are you waiting for? Time to make the change. You can use this QR code to request new unified approvals functionality that it's enabled in your Workfront environment. And we can also, I can send some links for information with that too. And I'm just going to mention again that switching to unified approvals replaces current document approvals, but does not affect proofing functionality. So if you're using document only approvals and no markup or no proofing markup window, then that's the one thing you'll want to pay attention to with that interface updating. Okay, now it's time for Q&A. I know that was a lot. I was talking at you for a long time, but I wanted to get through all of it so that we had plenty of time for questions.
There's a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
I'll hit the ones that had an upvote first, just because it was easy to sort by those.
Okay.
If someone is a reviewer, does it show in their My Approvals widget?
Yes. If they are assigned as any kind of approval role, it'll show up there. Yeah.
Perfect. How does this affect sending proofs for review and approval to non-Workfront users? Can you still send to email addresses?
Yes, you can. that functionality will still exist, but you will still need to add them as a role. So if you're putting their email in, you would need to choose if they're an approver or reviewer. I will say that there will be a contracting event to where with the new, when you request to update to the new functionality, there is a plan to limit how many decisions you can make via your license. So if you're a free user, like if you have lots of people that are contributors and they don't really mark up stuff or do much, if they make more than 5 decisions, then they might automatically be updated to a license. And that's something you want to keep in mind. If you have somebody that, if people are just reviewing and approving occasionally here and there, they can, not be in the system officially, but anyone that you regularly get feedback from, definitely add them to the system. And just so that you have that data there to see like when they're receiving things and all of the stuff too. And you can better report on it. But you're not kept from adding people that way. But if somebody's, making lots of decisions and very involved in the approval process, they'll probably automatically be bumped up. And so that's something to keep in mind.
Another one says, the only blocker in us using this is that we rely heavily on stages. Is there an ETA when that will be available in Unified?
Yeah. So we just had some enablement with product internally a couple weeks ago, and they are planning to have some stage functionality available after that March 12th date. It won't be in the same to the same level of detail as current review and approve functionality. Like if you're using multi-stage automated proofing workflows, there's like the lowest level of that is basically what's going to be available. So it won't be as robust as it currently is. Eventually it'll get there, but this first release is more basic. Like you can do some stages, but it's a little bit more basic about how you set it up.
And kind of a very related question, is there an ETA and full parity?
We don't have an ETA on full parity. All throughout 2026 is like these releases. So the goal is by the end of 2026 to have that parity. They're not necessarily saying function like feature parity. It won't be value parity. So there may be certain things that, like certain clicks or certain ways that people are doing things, that if it's not, they might address that in a different way that shows the same value, but is not done the same way, if that makes sense. So if you're expecting like I clicked here and I want that to be available in the new, that might not be the case. It's like, but hey, I'm trying to accomplish this thing. This is also, you can accomplish that in a different way with the new functionality. So that's why they say value parity, because the new functionality is ideal, like basically more robust than existing. So it's set up in a different way to make it more usable for everyone.
Cool. There's one here. Are there plans to make the functionality of approval templates for unified approvals more similar to the approval process you can attach to projects, tasks, and issues, or can you chain the approval templates to create stages? I find the biggest gap in the new functionality is the inability to set stages or manage the order of approvers like the old Proof HQ or the existing approval processes.
Yeah. So I don't, for what the first level of stage functionality that they're releasing, I'm not exactly sure what's included. I'll find out, but unfortunately we won't know until that actual date also. But that is the plan, is that you'll be able to add those stages. I think there was, if you're not talking about like project approvals, task approvals, those are separate. That's separate functionality. This is just on documents. So the current functionality for like task approvals and all of that is separate and stays the same. So this is just document approvals. Did I answer the question? Did I answer everything?
I think so. It was
Okay.
someone I work with. She'll ping me if you didn't.
Yeah.
Another one asked for clarification. You said if someone is a reviewer, does it show in my approvals widget? Today, reviewers do not show. Is this changing with the future?
It is changing. Yeah, it will show.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if you have any kind of role, it should be there.
Cool. Let's see. I round to some of the ones that had upvotes. Let me back here. I know we can set multiple approvers. Can we set one to only one approver of the group needs to approve, or certain ones need to approve?
Yeah, yeah. You can. That is basically it. It may not be the level of detail that current functionality is, but it will get to that point if not now. Right now, you can set templates up, but it's not quite as granular as like proofing templates at the moment, but it will be.
And will those templates allow for some of the roles related to those tasks, like program owner, project sponsor? Will you be able to just put those into your template so whoever that person is,
yeah,
reviewer?
So those are separate roles, so that you would designate approval roles for people. Okay. And so that's where, like, if you're a current proofing user, you have there's like in the setup area, you can set their default setting, their default proofing or approval role. That is still something you would set their approval role separate from their work role. Like if they're a project manager, if they're a designer, those roles will be completely separate type of workflow. And so that is something to consider if you have certain groups that you want to pull together. Maybe they all have different roles within Workfront, but they all need to be on the same approval. You would want to set up approval roles for those things. And you can set up approval teams, that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit more flexibility there.
Cool. Somebody asked, so the rest of the proof roles will no longer be available, reviewer, approver, etc. Actually, Brittany, I think that was yours. Do you want to?
Yeah, they're more simplified because if you're used to existing functionality, there's like author and reviewer and approver, and there's 8 options. Yeah. It's just 2 right now.
Okay.
So, and you can customize what that means in your settings. Who has access and stuff. Yeah.
Can you suggest a best practice to use document approvals instead of proof approvals? I find that our process for proof approvals works best because there are multiple changes and feedback loops, and the proof helps to designate where those changes and edits need to be made.
Oh, on the markups. Yeah. So with the new functionality, there will be also markups will be an option too, but it's a different viewer. And what I mean by the viewer is like when you create a proof and you go in to make changes, that window pops up and you can circle and highlight things. You can make comments. That is like what we call that's like legacy Proof HQ functionality. That's what that is. The new markup window is frame.io functionality. So you'll have 2 options. If you turn on unified approvals, you can decide, do you want to use the old markup window, the legacy current markup window, or the new markup window? You'll have the option to do either. And that's going to be on a project by project basis. And from what I understand, there'll be like a little toggle at the top. Like when you're in the project, you can say switch to like you're doing the unified process. If in that project, every document that you add will be in that unified process. So if you don't have to convert it to a proof anymore, there's no proofing converting. It just stays how it is in the new function. It's just a document. And then if you add approvals, the new markup window will pop up, and that's where you would use that functionality. That is everything in that project has to use that same process. If you want like a different project to say, like, we want to keep our existing proofing workflows, all of the things, you would just leave that toggle off, and you would add your document, turn it into a proof, add your proofing approvals, all the things that you're typically doing. So you can do both processes if you want to test out. And I'm sure that's probably confusing to users. So you may want to just test internally and decide what you want to go with, and then train users accordingly. But at least you have the option of like slowly moving over if you'd like project by project or something like that. Maybe you have certain teams that you kind of have them do the new process and then work out the kinks until you can kind of move other people over too.
Nice. When will the unified approach be available to customers in prod? Is that March 12th date?
It's supposed to be that March 12th date, but so it will be available, and it depends on what it depends, I think, on your contract level, and they're doing it in phases. So I know that they're going to have internally, they keep saying a contracting event. So I don't know if they will be like anybody that's up for renewal, they'll have these discussions about what you want to do. But then also if you want to use the new functionality, you can contact your account reps and they can get that conversation started, because they have to update your contract provisioning in the back end for you to use the new functionality. So there's got to be a discussion about how your contract is done. I'm not involved in any of the contract stuff, so I don't have good details about that. But I just know that you can talk to them and they'll figure out how to get it if you want that.
Nice. I see, Brittany, you had a question about, do we need to have enablement activated, or will it be available? Did Micah just answer your question?
Yeah.
There was also one on how does the new markup window different from existing? I think you answered that with the previous one.
Yeah, and unfortunately I don't have a good example because it's not turned on for me yet, so I can't show you. But it's very nice. It's more modern looking. It's more streamlined. It's using that new frame.io technology. And the good thing about that is, like, I don't know if anybody has done any like video or interactive proofing in Workfront in the past, but it's kind of clunky. It doesn't work very well with like digital interactive files. And that is much different with Frame. Like, it's a video platform. And so you can do much more with interactive reviewing in that markup window, in the new markup window, than what we've been able to do before. And that's basically just because the behind the scenes is just much more connected and better technology, so that it'll be a different look, little bit different interface, but there's much better functionality, I think, in what I've seen. So,
and you just said that will work with interactive proofs.
Yeah, any kind of video, like if you have website interactive or email with animations, anything like that, and then also static images too. I mean, that all of that will be considered, but you'll have the new experience is set up to have bigger files, better, like more video accessibility, that type of thing. So it'll be a little bit easier to review some of those types of things.
All right, and will only of those of us on the call have access to the recording. We'll put the recording, the slides. We'll start a chat in the Experience League, so that people there can watch.
Yeah,
I think I've hit all the questions, or they were answered in another one.
Yeah, or if anybody wants to come off mute and ask, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to freak out that they're losing functionality that is currently, that's typically what happens is people are like, oh my God, we're using approving approvals. Is this going to mess everything up? Are they going to force us over? Not yet. Yeah, but so the good thing is, if you're using heavily, if you're using proofing approvals and any of that stuff currently, you can still keep doing it. Even if you turn on the new unified approvals, you can do it at the same time, like have both in there. So I don't think there's really any drawbacks to switching over to the unified approvals. The only thing I would say would be caution is if you don't use any of the proofing markups and you only use document approvals. Like, there's not a lot of customers that do. A lot of them use like proofing. But if you do only document approvals, that interface will change to the unified when you switch over. So if that's the only way that you do proofing or approvals, that's where you'll see the difference.
There was one that we didn't answer, and it said not document unified approval related technically, but do you know if the future goal is that the desktop proofing viewer app will no longer be required for interactive proofs?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's very old technology, so you won't need that anymore. And also, I didn't mention it because I don't typically come across a lot of customers that use this, but there's also mobile capabilities for all of this. So if you have executives that are approving things on the go or whatever, they can see it on their phone and use the app for all of that and make their decisions that way. So that's sometimes people ask about it, but I don't get a lot of questions about the mobile app.
I'm just switching back and forth here between the chat and the Q&A. See if I missed anything.
Is proofing integrated with Frame? Yes. I'm looking through. Yeah. So you don't have to, I'm just kind of thinking of like some other questions I've gotten before. You don't have to purchase Frame separately to use the functionality. It's part of it. So like if you're a Workfront customer and you're using the new approvals, you'll get the pop-up window that's technically Frame, but it's not, you don't have to like purchase a separate license for Frame to use it. Like it's integrated in with Workfront functionality. There is more functionality if you have a Frame license for your users. If you like have a video department that's heavily using that type of thing, you can get more functionality with a full license, and you'll see a little bit more as far as features go. But yeah, you don't have to purchase anything separate for that.
When you were demoing, I did see that there was a drop down on the approve button. Are there additional like approval options? Because I know that at least at our company, like approved with changes, those are heavily like the difference. There's a big difference, surprisingly, between like those two, plus the other two. So I just wasn't sure. Is there a way for us to rename them? Is there additional options underneath of approve?
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't show that drop down. Yes, the approve with change. So there you can do approve or approve with changes. And then separately needs work is like you got to make a comment or like what do you want them to change kind of thing. It's essentially the reject, but it's like, do you want them to change something, or it's just, like feedback is needed.
And then are those editable? Because I know we can edit the what they say now.
Not at the moment, no. And I don't know if they will. I don't know how they're planning on doing that in the future. Mm-hmm. But if that's feedback we get from customers, then that may be something that they consider. But they're trying to make it the least amount of options possible, like that, or like more streamlined, so that you don't have 10 ways to approve something. They're trying to make it like concise, yes or no, it needs work or it's not, yeah. Cool. So that is something I'm sure once they start release a new functionality, if that's feedback that a bunch of that customers are giving constantly, then they'll probably think about adjusting that. But for now, there's not customization as far as that goes.
Okay.
I was just poking around to see if there was a way. I think people are muted, so they can't jump in, and I can't figure out how to unmute them. But I don't think we've gotten anything new in the chat.
Proofing definitely needs to be better integrated. Yes, it does. I'm glad it's getting attention too. This has been going on, like for us internally, this has been going on for like 4 years. So like finally.
Yes.
New to Workfront, I would appreciate any recommendations or best practices. If you mean on Workfront in general, the Experience League, Adobe Experience League, is a really good place to find training materials, blogs in the community. There's you can talk to other customers, you can interact with people. Just like this group will have a discussion area. So if you're new, I would say that's where I'd start, is Experience League. And then there's also like free events, which you can find on Experience League, but there's also free events that, things like this, things like we kind of have what we call like one-to-many engagements, where it's like all customers kind of come in like this, and there'll be a topic and you can sign up. It's free. There's regular events like that going on too. And then you could always, if you wanted more in-depth training, you can do some of the courses that we have online. There are also, you can sign up to have like an actual instructor do some training with your group, and there's boot camps, there's all kinds of stuff. So I would go to Experience League and check that out. And we did actually update some areas of Experience League in the last few weeks. So hopefully it'll be a little more easy to navigate. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But and also, like, a lot of some of our AI capabilities should make it a little bit easier to find stuff too. If you're trying to find something specific, there's a lot of materials on Experience League. So you can do some prompting to see to surface some stuff if you're having a hard time navigating or finding things.
Yeah. It's been a lot of years since I've done a Workfront boot camp, but I loved it. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Get your company to spring for the budget, I would definitely go for it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I don't know if we have, Heather, are you going to do like an email recap or something like that? Or
we'll start a chat in the
Workfront community. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes takes Julie, a day or two to get the recording downloaded, but once she's got it, we can put the link in there and all that good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope this was helpful.
I made some notes, so it was helpful for me.
Good. I hope no one's freaked out. Your current process isn't going to blow up. It'll be there. It'll be there existing. So you'll be fine.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for presenting for us.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome.
And thanks everybody for attending.
Mm-hmm. Have a good week.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.